I love the original Sarek, but Spock's father was portrayed better in Star Trek. Discovery. When it comes to legendary figures in the Star Trek universe, few characters bridge the gap between multiple series and eras as gracefully as Sarek, the Vulcan father of Spock. First introduced in Star Trek, the original series, Sarek has appeared in various forms over the decades, played by several actors, each bringing a different shade to the ambassador's complex personality. I love the original Sarek from TOS and The Next Generation. Mark Lenard gave the character gravitas, mystery, and quiet power. But as much as I admire Lenard's interpretation, I find myself more drawn to James Frain's performance in Star Trek: Discovery. Discovery not only modernized Sarek, but also deepened his character in ways that previous incarnations couldn't explore. The tension between Vulcan logic and human emotion has always been central to his identity, and Discovery thrust him into the narrative spotlight in a way that made him feel like more than just Spock's father. Instead, he became a fully realized character whose flaws and struggles spoke volumes about what it means to live between worlds. In this essay, I want to celebrate Mark Lenard's definitive portrayal while also explaining why I believe James Frain's Sarek resonates more profoundly for modern audiences. Mark Lenard's original Sarek, stoic father, diplomatic icon. Mark Lenard first appeared as Sarek in the 1967 episode Journey to Babel. At the time, audiences were given a fascinating glimpse into Spock's family life. The revelation that Spock's father was a Vulcan ambassador and that he was married to a human woman, Amanda Grayson, was groundbreaking. Lenard brought a subtle, commanding energy to the role. His Sarek was dignified, unflappable, and almost cold in his devotion to logic. He seemed to embody Vulcan ideals, standing as a pillar of restraint even when the situation became personal. What made Lenard's Sarek iconic was his presence. He didn't need many lines to command the screen. A raised eyebrow, a sharp look, or a measured pause could convey disappointment or pride. Through Lenard, Sarek became more than just a supporting figure. He was the embodiment of Vulcan diplomacy, a man who walked the razor's edge between emotional intimacy and cultural duty. Later in Star Trek: The Next Generation, Lenard reprised the role in memorable episodes like Sarek and Unification. Here, fans saw Sarek in decline, suffering from Bendy syndrome, a degenerative neurological illness. Lenard's performance in Sarek remains heartbreaking. The moment where his suppressed emotions pour out through a mind meld with Captain Picard is one of the franchise's most powerful scenes. It showed the cost of Vulcan discipline, the weight of decades of suppressed feeling. Lenard's portrayal cemented Sarek as one of the most memorable Star Trek characters, but it was always framed through his relationship with others: Spock, Amanda, Picard. His interior life was largely left to the imagination. Discovery's approach, making Sarek central. Star Trek: Discovery took a bold step by weaving Sarek directly into its main narrative through his connection to Michael Burnham, Spock's adopted sister. Played by James Frain, this version of Sarek isn't just a background diplomat. He is a central figure in Burnham's upbringing, conflicts, and identity. This new angle gave the character more room for growth and exploration than in any previous series. Where Lenard's Sarek was largely untouchable, distant, regal, and infallible, Frain's Sarek is more fallible, more emotionally raw, and more haunted by the decisions he's made. For instance, one of Discovery's most compelling additions is the story that Sarek chose to sponsor Burnham for admission into the Vulcan Expeditionary Group, but ultimately withdrew support, fearing backlash against her as a human. This decision, made in the name of logic and pragmatism, becomes a wound that defines Burnham's life and their relationship. It humanizes Sarek by showing the painful compromises he makes while trying to uphold Vulcan tradition and care for his family. This is where Frain's portrayal shines. He makes Sarek vulnerable. He still projects Vulcan dignity, but cracks appear in the facade, revealing the burdens of being both a father and a statesman. James Frain's performance, a flawed, relatable Sarek. James Frain's casting was brilliant because he naturally exudes a kind of intellectual sharpness and understated intensity. His Sarek maintains the calm Vulcan composure, but with a simmering emotional undercurrent that makes him relatable. Unlike Lenard's almost untouchable portrayal, Frain gives us a Sarek who struggles with guilt, regret, and divided loyalties. He is stern with Burnham, often distant, but his affection bleeds through in subtle ways, whether in the way he tries to encourage her logical side or in the fleeting warmth of his tone when speaking with Amanda. Frayn's Sarek feels more like a father. Leonard's version was archetypal, the stern patriarch who represented Vulcan ideals. But Discovery gives us a Sarek who feels the weight of his family's expectations, who second-guesses his own decisions, and who makes mistakes that reverberate through the lives of those he loves. That complexity makes him fascinating. One standout moment comes in the episode Lethe. Here, Sarek nearly dies in a shuttle explosion, leading Burnham to enter a psychic connection with him. Through this mind meld, she sees the truth of his decision to withdraw her Vulcan Expeditionary Group candidacy. The revelation isn't just about Burnham's heartbreak, it's about Sarek's vulnerability. He admits to himself that he failed to protect his daughter, that he compromised his values, and that his pride kept him from repairing their relationship sooner. It's a poignant, painfully human moment that reframes the character. Why Discovery's Sarek resonates more today. Part of why I believe Discovery's Sarek works better for modern audiences is because of storytelling trends. In the 1960s, television didn't often dwell on the inner lives of supporting characters. Sarek's original role was to flesh out Spock and provide dramatic tension. Leonard gave him presence, but the scripts didn't ask for much exploration of his psyche. By contrast, Discovery is serialized and character-driven. Audiences today expect layered, emotionally complex figures, even Vulcans. That's why Frayn's Sarek feels so powerful. He isn't a monolithic ideal of logic, but a being caught between competing worlds. He embodies the struggle of balancing professional duty with personal life, tradition with love, logic with emotion. In an age when conversations about identity, hybridity, and cultural compromise are more relevant than ever, Sarek's story hits differently. His choices with Spock and Burnham mirror broader questions about parenting across cultural divides, about the difficulty of reconciling heritage with individuality. Amanda's role in both versions. An important element of comparing Sarek's portrayals is his relationship with Amanda Grayson, played originally by Jane Wyatt and later by Mia Kirshner in Discovery. With Wyatt, Amanda was supportive, patient, and quietly strong, a human anchor to Sarek's stoicism. Their dynamic emphasized the curiosity and tenderness that could exist within a cross-cultural marriage, even if Sarek rarely showed outward affection. With Kirshner, Amanda is more assertive, willing to challenge Sarek's decisions regarding Burnham and Spock. This change enriches Frayn's portrayal because it forces him to wrestle with his shortcomings. The heated debates between Sarek and Amanda give Discovery's version of Messier more realistic edge. They're not just a diplomat and his patient wife. They're two parents trying, and sometimes failing,